Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back to throw more grenades in the name of science. In my previous video on the subject matter, I more or less set a baseline of what kind of damage we could expect from each of our 7 void grenades. In this one, we're going to be charging them up with the chaos accelerant aspect, and we'll see if we can tag on any applicable fragments to juice them up a little bit more. So even if you play mainly as a hunter or a titan, hopefully you can still find some value in this information. And I think that's probably a good place to start in case any of you non-warlocks want to dip out a little bit early. Even though I would be eternally grateful if you did watch the video the whole way through. But anyway, there are 3 void grenades that cannot be charged with chaos accelerant: the suppressor, the void spike, and the void wall. We'll start out with the suppressor grenade, and there's really not anything that we can do to directly up the damage output of this one within the fragments. A proximity-based max damage of about 40,000 is the best we can muster. But you could throw on the Echo of Domineering fragment if increased mobility and auto-reloading your weapons upon suppressing a target is utility that you'd find value in. And there are 3 artifact mods that work directly with the suppression effect. Suppression Mastery, increasing the suppression effect for one of these grenades by 3.5 seconds to 13.5 as opposed to the base 10. Energy Vampirism, giving an energy bump to your least charged ability when suppressing a target. As far as the grenade goes, I was seeing about a 25% energy return as soon as Carl became suppressed. Or Suppressive Darkness, suppressed targets are weakened, taking 15% more damage for a short time. The next 2 grenades, the Void Spike and the Void Wall, can both see their durations increased with the Echo of Remnants fragment, thus increasing their damage. And just a quick heads up or disclaimer or whatever you want to call it, anytime you're looking at the damage ticks of these area of effect based grenades, there can be some minor inconsistencies. The ticks from the damage field don't always start rolling at exactly the same time every time you throw the grenade. And while the variations are slight, fractions of a second, this can result in picking up an extra or losing a damage tick in some cases. In the grand scheme of things, not a huge deal, but I thought it was something that you probably should be aware of. The Void Spike at base dealt 3,880 points of damage per tick, lasted about 4 seconds, resulting in 17 damage ticks in total. So that was 65,960 points of damage. The Echo of Remnants fragment extends the duration by 2 seconds, yielding another 8 damage ticks, and an additional 31,040 points of damage. So that's 97,000 points of damage if a single target eats the entire duration of the grenade. The Void Wall, whose max potential base damage kind of took me off guard at 158,870, has its duration increased by 1 second by the Echo of Remnants fragment. Total uptime of the grenade from impact is now 7 seconds, with the Void Wall energy up and active for 6 seconds. Damage ticks are rolling out at 5 per second, dealing a pretty healthy 5,820 points of damage apiece. This is moving the max potential damage up to 187,970 if we include the damage from the blast and the initial wave. So that's a chunk, provided the target eats every single damage tick. Onto the figurative meat and potatoes of the video, the 4 grenades chargeable with Chaos Accelerant. Starting with the Vortex grenade, base numbers are up on screen, and in the stats there I did include decimals of a damage tick because the last number that rolled out did have some variation to it. If we were to just throw on the Echo of Remnants fragment, it's going to add 1.5 seconds to the grenade's total duration, resulting in an additional 5 or 6 damage ticks, giving us another 17,000 points of damage. When we charge up a Vortex grenade with Chaos Accelerant, the working radius of the grenade goes from 4 to 5 meters, a 10 meter total diameter. The grenade will now last for 5.5 seconds, up 1 second from the base, with a total of 17 damage ticks registered. In regarding the damage ticks, I have sad news to report to any of my fellow Voidwalkers. Charging the grenade is no longer upping the damage by 25% like it did pre-Witch Queen. So the blast damage and the damage ticks are going to be the same as that of a base Vortex grenade. Now, if we're charging the grenade and using the Echo of Remnants fragment, the total duration is going to be increased to 7.5 seconds, 3 seconds longer than the base duration. In my testing, I was able to see a total of 25 damage ticks for 82,841 points of damage. If we roll in the impact and the blast, that's 89,917. Pretty darn solid for a non-destructible, non-directional grenade that pulls targets into itself. But I'm still a little bit bummed out about the loss of the increased damage. At least Warlocks still have Controverse Hold, a great exotic to pair with a Vortex grenade. With it, charged Void grenades will return grenade energy on a hit. It'll quickly refund about 40% of your meter, but this is tied to a 4-second cooldown before the perk can proc again. Vortex grenades are going to outlast that cooldown window by a lot if you have the durations extended. So catching an enemy at the beginning and near the end of the grenade's uptime will result in you seeing about 80% of your grenade meter refunded. On to scatter grenades. Since there is no lingering AoE, the Echo of Remnants is not going to help us out with this one. Charging the grenade will enable tracking for the grenade's submunitions though, or the secondary grenades that spawn out when the initial cluster detonates. and tracking is really all the scatter grenade gains. The damage output is not technically increased from that of the base uncharged grenade, about 55,000. Other than the fact that it might help out the grenade's consistency or catching more targets in an ad clearing situation. So essentially, a charged scatter grenade and the Nothing Manacle's exotic gloves affect the scatter grenade's performance in the same manner. But this does present an advantageous reason to run Nothing Manacles, as a few of you pointed out in the comment section of my previous grenade video. If you really like your tracking scatter grenades, Nothing Manacles does let you pocket 2 of them, but it also gives you the option to take off the Chaos Accelerant aspect and run Child of the Old Gods and Devour together. A very formidable combo in their own right, but where Chaos Accelerant only carries a single fragment slot, both of the other aspects allow for 2 each, so you can make use of 4 fragments at one time. Moving on to the Magnetic Grenade. In its base form, single target damage totaled out to 45,848. If you charge this grenade up, it basically turns it into the old handheld Supernova, casting 5 short-ranged Void Orbs that will knock targets back. Each one will hit for 12,530 points of damage, with a splash of 7,711 coming from, I'm assuming, the knockback effect. But that's a total of 70,361 points of damage, delivered near instantaneously, making it the highest damaging, non-lingering AoE-based grenade in our kit. If that's not good enough for you, try it out with Verity's Brow, which I did undersell in my Voidwalker Exotics video. Weapon kills matching your subclass element accumulate stacks of death throws, which in turn increases your grenade damage. At 5x, which is max stacks, I mistakenly said the damage increase was 50%. But just last season, in Season of the Lost, Bungie did increase this to 100%, so double damage. This allows every Void Orb thrown by the charged magnetic grenade to hit Carl for 25,060 points of damage. Plus, that's 7,711 again. That's 132,961 points of damage delivered instantly from a single grenade charge. Pretty impressive. Last grenade to cover, the Axion Bolt. 2 Void Seeker orbs are going to spawn if the grenade lands in the proximity of 2 enemies. 1 spawns if there's only a single target, 0 if you biff your grenade. In terms of single target damage, Carl is only 1 Cabal, so 1 Axion Bolt grenade will deal a total of 27,037 points of damage. This does not change when we charge up the Axion Bolt. 1 target, 1 Seeker orb. But when charged, with enough targets in the area, it can spawn up to 4 Void Seeker orbs. The description says it spawns an additional Seeker, singular. I'm definitely counting 4 here though. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this definitely makes the Axion Bolt a much more useful tool for general ad clearing. Each Void Seeker is delivering a bit more damage than a crit from an adaptive frame sniper, and they do detonate when hitting a target, so secondary targets can eat some of that blast damage as well. You can clip quite a few enemies with a single charged grenade cast. You could try Controverse Hold with this grenade, Verity's Brow, or just because I didn't mention it yet, Nezarec Sin, which as I've said in the past, still gets my vote for the best all-around Voidwalker exotic. For the total duration of these Seekers, I'm gonna check up on that in the next video when I start running the grenade testing for PvP. It's just gonna be infinitely easier for me to gather that information in there, so keep an eye out for that one in the near future. But if you did enjoy this video, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. All are great ways of supporting the content and the channel, and they are always greatly appreciated. If you're looking for a group of Guardians to play or just talk Destiny with, you may be interested in the Ironworker Gaming Discord. The link is in this video's description. And with all that being said, you guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.